What the public sees in Formula One is the precision, the speed, the multi-million-dollar machine screaming around tracks at 200 miles per hour. But behind that polished exterior lies a world of absolute chaos that most casual fans never notice. Drivers throwing tantrums over team radio, engineers accidentally swearing on live broadcasts, and team principals getting into heated arguments in the paddock. These moments aren't just funny, they're the raw, unfiltered reality of what happens when you put the world's most competitive people under immense pressure, with cameras rolling 24/7. And today, I'm ranking the 10 funniest moments in modern F1 history that reveal what the sport is really like when the facade cracks. But before we dive in, let me tell you something most F1 commentators won't admit. These moments of chaos aren't accidents. They're the inevitable result of the pressure cooker that is Formula One, and they tell us more about the drivers and teams than any polished press conference ever could. Number 10. Kimi Räikkönen's I Was Having a Shit, Monaco 2006. Let's start with the Iceman himself. During the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix, Michael Schumacher crashed, causing a red flag. Martin Brundle was doing his grid walk for ITV when he noticed Kimi Räikkönen wasn't lining up with the other drivers for the restart. When Brundle finally tracked down Kimi and asked why he missed the Schumacher crash, Räikkönen in his trademark deadpan delivery simply replied, "I was having a shit." The beauty of this moment isn't just the blunt honesty, it's the perfect encapsulation of why fans love Kimi. While other drivers might have given some PR-friendly answer about reviewing telemetry data or discussing strategy, Kimi cut through the bullshit with, well, actual bullshit. What makes this even better is the look of absolute horror on Martin Brundle's face as he realized this was going out live on British television on a Sunday afternoon. You could practically see his career flashing before his eyes as he scrambled to apologize to viewers. This is classic Kimi, a man who famously told his race engineer, "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing," and who once went straight from retiring at the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix to his yacht in the harbour, still in his racing suit, to have a drink. The man simply does not care about F1's carefully cultivated image. Don't be like Kimi, don't leave before the race is over. Smash that subscribe button and join the grid of viewers who get these videos in their feed every week. I've got more F1 content lined up than there are corners at Monaco. Let's continue the countdown. Number 9. Sebastian Vettel's Blue Flag Song, 2017. Next up, we have 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel showing off his musical talents. During the 2017 season, Vettel was stuck behind back markers who weren't moving over, despite the blue flag signaling them to let faster cars pass. Instead of just swearing like most drivers would, Vettel broke into an impromptu song over team radio. Blue flag, blue flag, blue flag, blue flag, in a sing-song voice that sounded like a deranged ice cream truck jingle. What makes this moment special is seeing the usually composed German completely lose his cool in the most musical way possible. This is a guy who named all his cars, from Kate's Dirty Sister to Hungry Heidi, showing his playful side even while fighting for championships. The contrast between Vettel's usual precision and this moment of pure frustration set to music shows just how much pressure these drivers are under. When you're fighting for tenths of a second and a slower car costs you precious time, even the most disciplined minds can snap, or in Vettel's case, burst into song. Number 8. Fernando Alonso's lawn chair, Brazil 2015. Sometimes the funniest F1 moments come from pure, unfiltered frustration. During qualifying for the 2015 Brazilian Grand Prix, Fernando Alonso's McLaren Honda broke down yet again, a common occurrence during that disastrous partnership. Instead of storming back to the garage, Alonso found a folding chair, dragged it trackside, and just sat there watching the rest of qualifying like a disappointed dad at his kid's football match. The image became instantly iconic. A 2-time world champion, arguably one of the greatest drivers ever, reduced to a spectator at his own event. He even took off his helmet, put on sunglasses, and started sunbathing like he was on holiday. What makes this moment particularly brilliant is the context. Alonso had left Ferrari to join McLaren Honda with promises of championship glory, only to find himself in one of the least competitive cars on the grid. This wasn't just a driver having a tantrum, this was the physical manifestation of, I've made a huge mistake that anyone who's ever regretted a career move can relate to. The memes were immediate and relentless. Fernando Alonso's deck chair even got its own Twitter account. It was the perfect visual metaphor for wasted talent, and a reminder that even the best in the world sometimes have to sit on the sidelines and watch. Number 7. Günther Steiner's Netflix stardom, Drive to Survive. Netflix's Drive to Survive introduced F1 to a whole new audience. But nobody benefited more than Haas team principal Günther Steiner, who became an unlikely star thanks to his creative use of profanity. From calling his own cars a bunch of fucking wankers to his iconic, "He does not folks smash my door." After Kevin Magnussen stormed out of a meeting, Steiner's unfiltered approach to management made him the breakout character of the series. What makes Steiner so funny isn't just his colorful language or his distinctive South Tyrolean accent, it's the complete lack of the corporate polish we've come to expect from F1. In a sport where most team principals sound like they're reading from a PR handbook, Steiner speaks like he's at the pub after a few pints. The irony is that Haas was one of the least successful teams during Steiner's tenure, yet he became the most recognizable team principal on the grid. It's proof that in the social media age, authenticity, even angry, profanity-laden authenticity, connects with audiences more than success ever could. Steiner eventually parlayed this fame into books, speaking tours and merchandise, all because he couldn't stop swearing on Netflix. Not bad for a guy whose team was usually fighting to stay off the last row of the grid. Number 6. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg's cap throw, USA 2015. Sometimes the funniest moments in F1 come from the tension between teammates. After the 2015 United States Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton had just secured his third World Championship by beating teammate Nico Rosberg. In the cool-down room before the podium ceremony, Hamilton casually tossed Rosberg his second-place cap. Rosberg, clearly not in the mood for Hamilton's gesture, immediately threw it back at him with the force of a man who just watched his championship hopes evaporate. What makes this moment so delicious is how it perfectly captured the deteriorating relationship between two childhood friends turned bitter rivals. This wasn't just about a cap. This was years of tension, mind games, and on-track battles condensed into one petty moment. The beauty is in the contrast. Hamilton's seemingly innocent gesture, though many suspect it was deliberate needling, met with Rosberg's childish response. These are supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport professionals, and yet here they were, essentially having a playground spat in front of millions of viewers. It's even funnier in retrospect, knowing that Rosberg would come back to win the championship the following year before immediately retiring, as if his entire career was building to that cap throw and its redemption arc. Number 5. Daniel Ricciardo's Shoey tradition. Moving into the top 5, we have Daniel Ricciardo's contribution to podium etiquette, the infamous Shoey. After winning races, the Australian began celebrating by pouring champagne into his sweaty racing boot and drinking from it, then forcing others to do the same. The real comedy comes from watching the reactions of other drivers and celebrities forced to participate. Lewis Hamilton trying desperately to avoid it. Martin Brundle wincing through it. Even Sir Patrick Stewart getting in on the action at the Canadian Grand Prix, proving that not even Jean-Luc Picard can resist the Ricciardo charm offensive. What makes the Shoey so perfectly F1 is how it cuts through the sport's often stuffy exterior. Formula One tries so hard to be prestigious and sophisticated. It's a sport where teams serve champagne in their hospitality suites and drivers arrive in designer clothes. Then along comes Ricciardo with his hold my beer, actually hold my shoe energy, to remind everyone that at its heart, racing is still about having fun. The contrast between Monaco's glamour and Ricciardo drinking from footwear is the perfect representation of the sport's duality. It's both a billion-dollar technical showcase and a bunch of adrenaline junkies going really fast in circles. Number 4. Lando Norris and the Champagne Cork incident, 2021 Hungarian GP. Sometimes the funniest moments happen when drivers remind us they're still learning on the job. After securing a podium at the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, Lando Norris found himself battling a new opponent, a champagne bottle. As Norris attempted to pop the cork, it exploded unexpectedly, causing him to drop the bottle in shock. The slow-motion replay of his face, transitioning from triumph to terror as the cork fired off, is pure comedy gold. What makes this moment particularly endearing is how it highlights the youth of some of these drivers. Here's Norris, capable of handling a 200-mile-per-hour car through rain and complex race strategy, completely undone by a bottle of bubbly. It's a reminder that some of these drivers are barely old enough to legally drink the champagne they're spraying. The moment went viral not just because it was funny, but because it showed the human side of these racing superstars. Norris's self-deprecating reaction afterward, immediately laughing at himself, only added to his growing popularity as one of F1's most relatable personalities. Number 3. Max Verstappen's simply lovely radio messages. In third place, we have the collection of bizarre radio messages from Max Verstappen that have become their own subgenre of F1 comedy. From his deadpan "Simply Lovely" after winning races to randomly singing "Super Max," his own fan song, on the cool-down lap, Verstappen's radio communications are a masterclass in unexpected comedy. The funniest might be during the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix when his race engineer told him to manage his tires like Lewis Hamilton was doing. Verstappen's response: "Mate, this is the only way for me to drive. If I go slower, I drive like a grandma." What makes these moments so funny is the contrast with Verstappen's intense, take-no-prisoners driving style. On track, he's arguably the most aggressive driver of his generation. On radio, he sometimes sounds like he's ordering a coffee or commenting on the weather. This duality, the killer instinct behind the wheel, paired with these oddly casual radio messages, gives us a glimpse into the mind of a champion who can be simultaneously at the absolute limit of performance while sounding completely unbothered. Number 2. Valtteri Bottas's "To Whom It May Concern." Australia 2019. Sometimes the best comedy comes from the quiet ones. After winning the 2019 Australian Grand Prix following a difficult previous season, Valtteri Bottas delivered his now famous radio message, "To whom it may concern, fuck you." The beauty of this moment is in its unexpectedness. Bottas, usually the epitome of Finnish stoicism and Mercedes corporate politeness, suddenly channeling his inner rebel with a perfectly delivered middle finger to his critics. What elevates this to legendary status is how out of character it seemed. If this had come from Verstappen or Alonso, it would have been Tuesday. But from Bottas, the racing equivalent of your polite accountant suddenly dropping an F-bomb during a board meeting. The line became so iconic that Bottas himself has referenced it multiple times since, even selling merchandise with the phrase. It's the perfect example of how even the most composed drivers have a breaking point, and when they reach it, magic happens. Number 1, gentlemen, a short view back to the past. The longest question in F1 history. And finally, we reach number 1. A moment so legendary it transcends the sport itself. During a 2014 press conference, a journalist named Walter Costa delivered what might be the most convoluted question in sporting history. Gentlemen, a short view back to the past. 30 years ago, Niki Lauda told us, "Take a trained monkey, place him into the cockpit and he is able to drive the car." 30 years later, Sebastian told us, "I had to start my car like a computer." It's very complicated. And Nico Rosberg said, "During the race, I don't remember what race, I had to start my car like a computer." Question for you both. Is Formula One driving today too complicated with 20 and more buttons on the steering wheel? Are you too much under effort, under pressure? What are your wishes for the future concerning technical program during the race? Less buttons, more, or less and more communication with your engineers? The question goes on for so long that by the end, Sebastian Vettel has to ask, "Can you repeat the question?" causing the entire room to burst into laughter. What makes this the funniest moment in modern F1 isn't just the absurdly long question, it's the drivers' reactions. Vettel and Button exchanging glances of increasing panic as the question continues to unfold, like some kind of verbal inception. Nico Rosberg staring into the middle distance, clearly having given up on understanding what's being asked. This moment has become so embedded in F1 culture that fans can recite it from memory. Drivers reference it in interviews, and it's spawned countless memes. It's the perfect encapsulation of the sometimes bizarre world of Formula One media. where drivers face questions that seem designed to confuse rather than illuminate. So, there you have it. The 10 funniest moments in modern Formula One that show what the sport is really like, behind the carefully managed public image. From Kimi's bathroom break to the longest question in history. These moments reveal the human side of a sport that often feels more like a technical showcase than a human drama. What makes these moments special isn't just that they're funny, it's that they're authentic. In a sport increasingly dominated by corporate speak and PR training, these rare glimpses of real emotion and personality remind us why we fell in love with Formula One in the first place. If you enjoyed this breakdown of F1's funniest moments, you'll love my next video, where I'll be analyzing the most dramatic team radio messages in F1 history. From Multi21 Seb to "No Michael, no, that was so not right." Click the video on screen now to check that out. And let me know in the comments, which F1 funny moment did I miss? Is there another classic that should have made the list? I'll see you in the next one.